Hey guys, what's up? I was going to do a review tonight. Sadly, my computer acted up a bit, and I couldn't watch the movie that I wanted to watch, which was on YouTube. And honestly, I was already prepped to watch that film, and I really just didn't want to watch another one. I might maybe upload a review once I'm done doing this, or watch a movie after I'm done doing this and review it. I don't know. But here's my top 10 list of the top 10 best Japanese horror films I have ever seen. Alright, guys, starting off this list at number 10, we have Ju-on the Grudge. Um, what to say about this film? Not much, I guess. I mean, it's a pretty good Japanese horror film, and it's in my top 10, and I've seen, I'm not going to claim to have seen all the Japanese horror films, but I've seen a decent amount of them. And I mean, this one's pretty good. Often called the scariest movie ever made, I would have to disagree with that. But then again, I did kind of buy into the hype upon watching it. So, yeah. Alright, guys. And for the ninth film on my top 10, I decided to give the ninth spot to Guinea Pig Flowers of Flesh and Blood. Probably my favorite entry in the series. Then again, I've only seen the first three films in the series. But still, definitely a decently disturbing movie to at least a good amount of people. To me, not so much. I will say the special effects in the film are done pretty well. Um, although some of the props don't look real, and there's some stuff that is like that makes it almost seem like it's not a snuff film at all, when a lot of people claim it is. But yeah, you never know. I thought it was pretty good. All right, at number 8 on the list is Mutant Girls Squad. One of the many recent, well, this one isn't so much recent, but one of the many films to come out of Japan within the past 10 or so years that is basically just a splatter film with a very weird plot and a lot of crazy shit. Um, Not my favorite out of all the ones I've seen, but it's still a pretty fun movie to watch. Um, and the director of Machine Girl, F is for Fart, uh, Zombie Ass, Toilet of the Dead, Frankenstein Girl versus Vampire Girl, and Tokyo Gore Police collaborated on the film. So you know that the gore and the craziness factor of this film is off charts. Alright, and at number 7 on our list, we have the Takashi Miike film. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm going to guarantee you that this is not the last time you are going to see Miike on this list. Just a forewarning. Um, One of his often called disturbing movies, Visitor Q, which some people wouldn't consider a horror film, and when I first reviewed it, I really didn't give it a very good review. I said it was okay, and I mean it's one of those films that you could watch once and then never watch again. But after a while thinking about it, I definitely say it's a good film. It's definitely a funny movie. The movie is it isn't really violent like a lot of Miike's films. It's more vulgar and funny in the sense that getting your dick stuck in a corpse while you're fucking it is funny. At number 6 on our list, we have The Machine Girl, a Japanese action revenge splatter horror film. that I reviewed, I want to say a few weeks ago on my channel. Uh, I would have to go exactly with what I said in the review. If you are a fan of the director's other movies, if you are a fan of Tokyo Gore Police or Vampire Girl vs. Frankenstein Girl, this is definitely one to try and find a copy of and pick up. It's like I said with Mutant Girl Squad. It's really just insane and funny. The next, well, we're halfway through the list now. Shit. Next on our list is a film that is often called a mystery horror, possibly dark comedy. Um, Suicide Club, a film that's basically about a random string of suicides plaguing Japan, and really, it's just a really kind of cool um, movie, especially in the beginning, in one of the beginning scenes where you see about 50 high school students jump in front of a subway train. Alright, guys, and for number 4 on the list, it is a surreal comedy horror film that is obviously Japanese within the list, and it is House or Hausu or Hausu. Um, really, this is like a really just surreal kind of horror comedy about a house that eats people in really weird and surreal ways. Um, Not much to say about this film other than it's probably one of the funniest horror comedies I've ever seen, and the fact that it's probably one of the weirdest horror comedies I've ever seen. On top of that, and it's probably one of the best movies that's bad on purpose. Usually people say someone has to make a movie bad on purpose. It usually doesn't turn out good, or well, in their case, bad. It turns out being just bad in an unwatchable sense, not bad in an enjoyable sense. But it's, as I said when I wrote my review of it on IMDb, it's a phantasmagoria of cheese, blood, vomiting cats, and laughs and surrealness. For the third film on this list, we are hitting the home stretch now. Um, a film directed by Takashi Miike, and a lot of people, some people wouldn't really consider this a horror film, although on IMDb it is listed under multiple genres, one of which being horror. So I can go ahead and say that it is a Japanese horror film, and it's probably his magnum opus. Not in my personal opinion, but a lot of people's opinions. It's probably his magnum opus. Ichi the Killer. Um, what can I say about it? It's fun. It's gory. It's violent. It's a funny film. It's enjoyable. Well, to a certain degree, it's enjoyable. Um, Not really recommended for those with a weak stomach or that are sensitive to subjects like rape and domestic abuse, because there's a decent amount of that subject matter within the film. Um, Really, it's just an all around kind of funny, ridiculous movie to watch. Definitely one worth checking out if you have about 2 hours free and you have a Netflix account. All right, and for my second favorite Japanese horror film, we have probably my favorite film from the director of Vampire Girl vs. Frankenstein Girl and Monster Girl Squad, and it is Tokyo Gore Police. Um, yeah, this one really kind of reassured my hope in Japanese and really over the top Japanese splatter films. because after seeing Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl, I really wasn't that impressed with the genre um, that much, and then I watched Tokyo Gore Police, and that film blew me away, and really just I I I can't express how just amazingly funny, over the top, and violent this film is. It is worth seeing. As I said, with my number 7 on the list, Mike is not gonna die on this list. My number one absolute favorite, and what I think is probably the best Japanese horror film I've ever seen, is Takashi Miike's Audition. Um, a really big cult film. I mean, even directors like Rob Zombie and Eli Roth say this is one of their absolute favorite horror films, which is really kind of saying something, considering they're pretty decently big names in the horror community, including the modern horror community. Um, the uh, the movie is really just amazing. It's what I like to call a slow burn horror film, similar to films like The Conspiracy, which is a really, really great horror film on Netflix. I suggest you guys check out. But what I mean by it's a slow burn horror film, I mean that everything in the film is really building up to the end. A lot of people say that this movie is kind of pretentious BS, saying, it's just a boring, unwatchable movie because it's nothing but it's more like a romantic comedy drama until you're about an hour into it, and then things get a little bit darker, and then you reach like the last 20, 30 minutes, and it becomes a horror film. And within the last 10 minutes, it definitely pays off, but there are a lot of people that say it doesn't pay off whatsoever. Everybody has an opinion, but mine is that this film is a masterpiece of horror cinema